Yo, what up guys, Travic here, and today I want to talk about my new character. Now, if some of you guys recently caught the latest stream, you'll know that I've been leveling a bleed bow character inspired by my friend JTX, and we'll talk more about that character when it's done and up and running. But I had to bring it through the campaign as I did indeed need to level a brand new character. And let me tell you, some people love going through the campaign and some people hate it, but my experience was absolutely fantastic. When I first talked about creating the character, a bunch of people in the community were like, oh, level like this, try this. One guy even was just like, hey man, I got a bunch of bows, borrow my bows, go through the campaign, no questions asked. And I said, you know what, I'll think about it. So I was talking to a couple other buddies who were leveling and they all recommended the same thing. And I want to talk about that today. The leveling experience that I'm going to be showcasing is an alt leveling experience. It uses Rake, it uses Stomping Ground, and it is no surprise. Everybody's talking about it, everybody's running it. And I am not the first person to do this, and I am not the first person to talk about this, but I had to share it in case you haven't seen it. Originally, I had leveled my Bleed Mage, which a lot of you guys have tried and liked and had really good success following the Lazy Exile's Rake alt leveling. Now this video is going to be included for you down below, and this was a fantastic way to level. They go over everything you need with their take on Rake and their way of getting gear and so forth and so on. When I started to level my second character, this bow character, I decided to follow the Asmodeus way, and it was absolutely also fantastic. Both of these guys have great ways to play with alt leveling, and their videos are going to be linked for you down below. Now, the reason I'm making this video is I just wanted to talk about my experience with it, kind of show it off in real time, and just kind of give you guys a rundown of what to expect if you were to try it in real time. Now, like I said, I've had a fantastic time with it. I got all the gear they recommended. I put it all together. I got all the corruptions, and I bought everything that was within, reasonable price range. Some of these items are pretty expensive depending on the role, and some of these items are relatively cheap. But let's start from the beginning and see where we're at. First and foremost, this character right now is 4 hours and 43 minutes into the campaign. We're just at the start of Act 6 and we are absolutely flying. Now, we started with this Tyrannese grip. We ended up looking for one that had a high roll to strengthen 2 sockets, and it was relatively affordable at the time when I purchased mine. It was a little bit less than a divine. I got one of these cheaper guys to answer, and I was relatively thrilled with it. A pair of luminous pace for early boots and early leveling, very, very, very cheap. I picked up a buckler off the NPC at the start of Act 1, no problem at all. Very important. You just need a buckler, and you'll see why momentarily. And I grabbed a spear just to get started with off the NPC at the start of Act 1, just so I was able to use disengage and move through the campaign without issues. The rest of my gear very straightforward. We have a Blackheart Iron Ring, fantastic for physical damage, and corrupted with strength. It is very important that you get these rings corrupted with strength. Strength will be the thing that we are going to be using to go through the campaign. Now, at the time when I bought this last night, they were not 1 divine, they were a lot cheaper, so keep an eye out on trade. You don't need 15 strength. You can go with a lower roll if the lower rolls exist. There's probably a whole bunch of them offline. Just wait for somebody to log in and you'll be set in stone. Corrupting your own for strength is a little bit of a pain, so I recommend just trying to buy one. Otherwise, you're gonna be corrupting like 400 rings. My other ring, exact same thing. My other ring that you see here, the Pulsaclarin ring, we did the exact same thing. We just looked for any ring that was relatively cheap with a strength roll, and I managed to get one for super cheap. I didn't pay anywhere near as much as people are listing them for now when I bought mine last night, but once again, keep an eye on the trade site. You'll probably be able to find one super cheap. Now, Twink leveling gear in Dawn of the Hunt can get a little pricey depending on how you want to do it, and strength stacking is no exception. Sometimes the stuff is cheap, sometimes the stuff is expensive. A really good example is this body armor. My body armor has 3 sockets in it, 3 sockets with high strength roll, relatively expensive for a leveling armor, about a divine. If you get it without 3 sockets and a high strength roll, you can actually find them relatively cheap. Now, what I did for my body armor is I bought a really cheap one, 510 exalts, and I actually kept corrupting them until I got 3 sockets. And it was, the first or second one, I believe it was, corrupted to 3 sockets. Very simple, very straightforward, very down to earth. We use this body armor for elemental resistances, a little bit of it, and mostly for the strength roll. The same thing with our helmet. We're using our helmet mostly for the strength roll, and once again, I bought it with 2 sockets. Now, you don't need to get a high strength roll. They might not exist with multiple sockets. When I bought mine last night, this was a very cheap. You can see there's a cheap one on trade now. If this guy were to answer, you can get one for divine, but you can pretty much do the exact same thing where you buy this helmet relatively cheap and you self-corrupt them yourself, and it'll go very, very, very well. Now, for the rest of our gear, we did the exact same thing. You're going to see a very big running trend. We're going to be using a buckler. This has a little bit of dexterity. It has 2 sockets. I just grabbed any buckler that had dex to fill dex requirements to make my life a little bit easier for equipping my gear. 2 sockets, bada bing, bada boom, nice and easy. We have a Carnage Heart. This has a bunch of attributes, a bunch of strength. We allocate beef. If you don't know what the beef allocation is down here. It is a fear, disgust, and fear. It is like 30x, I think, to anoint this 40x. It's relatively cheap. Our boots at level it was 11. It was 11. We put on Wanderlust. The reason my boots say level 30 is because the rune in it, but we'll talk about the runes in a second. Belt, same exact thing. You want to grab a belt that has a bunch of strength on it, and if possible, you get one corrupted with strength. These belts can get a little bit more on the pricier side, but depending on the strength roll on the belt, you can get it relatively cheap. I don't recommend trying to corrupt your own gear for strength because getting the strength roll is a little bit difficult. Now, our gloves, the exact same thing. 2 sockets, pretty simple. If you can't find a good pair, just corrupt them yourselves. These gloves are probably the cheapest of things, as they are roughly 5 or 10 exalts. They'll be relatively easy to get. Now, the reason why we're strength stacking and the reason why we have so many sockets in all of our gear is as we level up, we want to make sure that we put in runes to give us strength. You see, we have the lesser robust runes giving us +6 strength. You could put these in at level 1, and then when you get to level 30, you can put in the greater robust strength to give you another additional 4. The reason why strength is so important is we're going to be using Stomping Ground. Now, Stomping Ground triggers a shockwave when you take a step while using a skill, and shockwave actually scales and deals damage of, as your strength, as extra physical. So you deal 100 to 150% of your strength as physical damage. So this is really important to note because the more strength you have, the more damage that you're going to deal. The big takeaway from our skills is we're going to be using Rake to deal all of our damage. Rake is a movement skill, and pretty much it will just push you towards enemies, and as you rake, you'll leave shockwaves behind, and Stomping Ground will do all the work. Now, at level 1, you do not get Rake. You will have to go through the campaign with very little gear for a couple of levels, and you use Disengage. Disengage is an absolutely fantastic skill. It moves you, and it pushes you, and it jumps you, and you'll see that in live action in a moment. We'll showcase Rake, or we'll showcase Disengage, and it pushes you along and it triggers Shockwave quite nicely, and it helps you clear all the, pretty much everything until you get to level 6. So you'll put in Disengage, you'll put in Stomping Grounds inside of Disengage, you'll go through the campaign, get a couple of levels, and then by the time you get to the rusted guy with the nails and you're saving the guy from the tree, you'll roughly be around level 6 and you'll be able to equip Rake, and then from there it is smooth sailing. Rake is the only skill that we have 4 sockets on. It is the only skill that you'll need. You'll notice that I have not leveled my Rake at all, and you'll see when we go into leveling now, it's very, very, very smooth, and you will have no issues at all. Rake, like I mentioned, has Stomping Ground. We have Martial Temple for more attack speed, and we're using Close Combat because we're going to be relatively near the enemies at all times, and we're using Heft to deal more physical damage. We have Herald of Ash. It has Magnified Effect, and if you want to spend the extra little bit of spirit, we have Tame Beast. This is why we need a little bit of extra dex, because Tame Beast at level 9 gives you 72 dex, and you'll be able to capture a monster in Act 3. I went to go capture a monster, and I went to go set it up, and my buddy was like, hey man, let me help you out. My buddy Realism's hunting down a beast, and he's going the whole 9 yards. And then I go in to capture the beast and I accidentally kill it. And he's like, your build sucks. You deal too much damage. He's telling our friend group, he's trying to we're laughing and joking. And then you find out that you can't capture the beast anyways, because it's got to be in your own instance. But if you're looking to capture a beast, you can do that in Act 3. You go to the camp, you hunt down some monkeys, you get yourself a nice little aura. And this is what you need the dex for, so you can get yourself rolling. Overall, this leveling experience has been great. You know, you could see my tree is very straightforward. You could do this exact same tree on every character that you play. It doesn't matter where you start on the tree, you're going to do the exact same thing. You are going to just pretty much path all the way to the strength nodes and path right down into them and take all of the strength nodes. And this will give you all of the damage that you want to deal. You see, we have all these strength nodes here. We're still going to get, we grabbed all these, we path down over here, we grab some skill effect, we path up here, we grabbed a whole bunch of strength. And this is all you really need to just completely blast through the campaign. Now, to showcase this in real time, like I said, I just got to Act 3. My playtime is going to be a little wonky because we're recording this video, and that's okay because I've just been blasting through no problems at all. Now, the thing that I will mention is as I started to get to Act 3, you'll notice that the damage starts to fall off a little bit. You're going to want a little bit more strength, 600, while a lot. Still not as much as you would really want, but you know, overall, you're still doing really good. Now, disengage, like I mentioned, is a skill that allows you to pretty much just back away from the enemy at will. You're able to just use disengage and move away without any problems at all. So the entire time that you start leveling like this, you'll just pretty much be doing this through all, you know, early acts, you know, Act 1 all the way to level 6. And then as soon as you're able to equip Rake, everything just starts flying. You'll see that Rake does, for a level 3 skill on regular mobs, a whole lot of damage. Now, you're not going to be able to one-shot everything when you get to Cruel unless you have more strength. If you got better gear, invested more points in the strength, you'll be able to go. One of the really cool things about using Rake and using a buckler is you'll notice the way that my character is moving. We are actually using Rake as a movement skill. I'm sure this is pretty much against the vision and it's going to get visioned out of the game as we are animation canceling using our buckler and parry to pretty much just cancel our movements. And you can see we can move relatively quickly across the map. Now, the way that I do this is I press Rake, and midway through the Rake animation, I press the parry button, and I can just pretty much just parry my way and just kind of fly through the campaign without any issues at all. And it's a really good way to just kind of like move. The only time I ever like stop is if I want to kill something, if I want to get a little bit of experience, and if I overall just kind of want to, you know, understand where my character's going and how it's functioning. Now, the only hiccup I managed to have in this entire playthrough up until this point of the campaign was Jamana and Cruel. I was too busy focused on Twitch chat and I died a couple of times, but outside of that, everything's been pretty much smooth sailing. I'm looking right now for the big monkey guy here. I'll show you guys the damage on the monkey. And then my plan is to just finish going through the campaign doing exactly this. I'll get a little bit of experience and I'll just be ready to go and put the gear that I want on my character to just kind of get going. You see there was a Rogue Exile, no problems at all. We're able to kick its butt and we're just gonna, you know, animation cancel our way through these zones. Some of these zones are indeed monstrous. Going through the campaign still feels like a chore if you don't know the layouts, but at least using Rake and animation canceling, you can pretty much get through the zone without a whole lot of trouble. And it feels, you know, moving around like this actually doesn't feel that bad. I will say it did take a little bit of time for me to get used to moving around like this. Understanding the animation cancels was a little bit of a pain for the first like little bit, but once you start getting into the flow of things, you get a little bit of movement speed, a little bit of action speed, a little bit of skill speed. Everything goes relatively easy. Now you see we were able to take a couple of hits from the monkey. We're relatively strong and tanky. We got ourselves our book of specialization and we're just gonna keep cruising back through the zone. Now, before somebody says XDD, that was the Act 3 one. We are indeed in monster level 58. I know how this goes. I know somebody's gonna be like, oh, it must be nice to showcase footage from Act 3 campaign, bro. And I'm gonna be like, it wasn't Act 3, it was the real act. And then somebody's be like, no, it wasn't, you're a liar. And I'm be like, bro, please, bro. But overall, like I said, I figure the best way to showcase this is to show it in real time and how it works and how it performs. This way you guys aren't really caught off guard. This build in itself for leveling starts off absolutely fantastic. You cannot beat it. It feels great every step of the way. And then, like I said, as you get further and further into the campaign, it starts to fall off a little bit more and fall off a little bit more and fall off a little bit more. Now, I could be not lazy and I could go buy new rings with more strength. I can go buy a new belt with more strength. I can go buy an amulet with more strength. I can go buy pretty much everything with more strength. Do I want to? Nah, not really. Am I being lazy? Oh, absolutely. absolutely am I being lazy. I know I'm being lazy, but the biggest reason why I'm being lazy is I knew I was going to be talking about this. I knew I was going to be playing this, and I wanted to show people what it looks like with the gear that's recommended, so you know what you're getting yourself into. Because my plan personally is I'm going to use this gear, I'm going to finish the campaign, and then I'm going to put it all to the side. And when I put it all to the side, it's just going to be there for the next character that I decide to level up. If I decide to level up another character, we still probably have a lot of time before the next big update for Path of Exile 2. So I want to make sure that I have a plan for leveling, and I want to make sure I know what I'm going to do if I want to play other characters. And I'm sure there's going to be other builds that pop up and other really sweet interactions that people find. And it's just going to be something that I'm going to want to do. So, you know, I want to have the gear and everything set to the side. The best part is this gear and everything should get me straight to maps, assuming I can actually find where I'm supposed to go in this zone and not wander around blindly, not really knowing what the heck I'm doing. But I guess it's kind of better because you could see it in action. You could see it against a bunch of rares. You could see how you move through the zone, and pretty much you're blitzing through the speed of light. Now, I don't expect this parry cancel animation stuff to survive past Path of Exile 2 Dawn of the Hunt. So if you're watching this in the future and it doesn't work, I'm sorry. I can't help you, my bad. But overall, you know, fantastic level experience. The people who put this together, the great minds who figured all this out, they did an absolutely stunning, fantastic job, and I can't begin to thank them enough. Now, as far as it goes for me, I'm going to finish leveling this character. I'm going to get through the rest of the campaign. I'm going to put together this bleed bow character, and then I'm going to showcase what my buddy Jay put together, and I'm going to leave a link down below if you guys want to preview it ahead of time. Jay did a fantastic job with bleed bow. It is absolutely stunning, fantastic. It looks great, and every time I see Jay play it, I am completely hooked. So if you want a sneak peek at that, it's down below in the description for you guys. But if you made it this far in the video and you like this video, please leave a like, a comment, thumbs up, do all that fun stuff. It really helps the channel. It really helps me out a whole lot, and I really appreciate it. I love hearing the feedback from you guys. You know, as long as it's constructive and not just like rambling like your headless chicken. So if you have feedback and it's constructive, you can leave it down below. But if you sound like a mouth-breathing chicken, I don't want to know. But friends, I'm gonna get this video out to you guys. I'm gonna go finish leveling. I'm gonna start working on this bleed character, and I'll see you all in the next one.